Good evening, my name is Gleb Antonov, and it's another day, another episode, another revolution at Project Grey 9. And today I'd like to tell you about ideologies. It's a set of attributes of economic, political or social nature that affect every individual in a country without people even realizing. And it defines most of the aspects of their lives, like basic access to food or medical help or commodities and its quality, or restrictions their opportunities to travel, or just determines their lifestyles in general. And today, for example, I'd like to tell you about Lenin Marxism ideology. And the main ideas were that communists were saying, all right, let's conquer the whole world, let's support our regimes in other countries, let's have more than 30 ideological wars with another nuclear United States in different parts of the world, like Southeast Asia or Middle East or Africa or Eastern Europe or Central Europe or Central America or South America. And let's make a country where all the males always ready to go to war, like anytime. So country in a constant state of war. And if you disagree, we're gonna send you to gulags, and we're probably going to expropriate most of your excessive incomes for the needs of that unimaginable and paranoid idea of world dominance. And people probably didn't even have much choice. And they probably are trying to compensate the sadness of reality with ideas that they belong to some sort of superpower that all of the other countries for some reasons are afraid of. And people, they probably want to have some shine of that eternal glory expressed in songs and refrigerators with nothing but ice. And however, recently I can see changes, and that scientific progress helps humankind to advance. For example, you can see in countries of Eastern Europe right now, and how internet gave people another source of credible information. And for example, it also gave them more safety, because now everyone has camera, and they can like defend just recording actions of police or something. And also there are unprecedented Russian actionists who are trying to turn peaceful protest in form of art, and sparking revolution of dignity. And when we talk about revolutions, we talk about Karl Marx. And let me tell you about his biography. He graduated and became a journalist. Then his theoretical views were too radical, so he was expelled from Germany, and he moved to northeast London, and then he became a leader of international movement of workers. And his theories helped many other people in other parts of the world to come to power, which made Karl Marx worldwide famous. And next I'd like to tell you about another ideology, another interpretation of Marx theories, Western Marxism. And they were proposing next pillars. First, they were criticizing self-conscious of people, things they don't know, things they don't think about, or they were criticizing so-called superstructures. So let me give you an example of Bayes' superstructure dialectics. So Bayes it's tangible, constants, like for example land or manufactures or roads, and intangible, like people, their skills, their knowledge, their behavior. And this level of the base was affecting superstructure level, which is different like institutions like or art, for example, or courts, or economics, or politics, and those superstructures, they were influencing back the base. So the process that we are influencing each other like at the same time. And Western Marxists, they were trying to find like problems in those dialectics and superstructures and trying to solve them, because that's the main purpose of politics. And the next postulate was scientific socialism, and they're saying if people rule people, then let the people who in power be like have more knowledge, so that they can have some rationale for their political, economic, social decisions. And it's not that it's some scientific approach that would give base for that on another move, and it's not just the sheer will of majority of population who's going to be like in power. And next is God's eye view, and it's when observer perceives object of inquiry while standing independent to this object, and while perceiving it through its relation with other objects of the same superstructures. And next I'd like to tell you about Marx's main work, Das Kapital. So mostly he was criticizing capitalistic economic system, and he was saying that some people born with resources, some people seize them by chance, and then those people can exploit the majority of population by creating ultimate source of surplus value, and then they can use official like tools and regulations and legislations to formalize this exploitation. And economic formation is a process of natural history, and you can see it an example of systematic racism in United States, because some people born in utopias, some people were born in ghettos, and then people who born in poor conditions are judged by the color of their skin. And Marx was also saying that systems built on for the purpose of personal profits are inherently unstable, and the capitalism has a lot of contradictions where few exploit many, so that it will lead to some sort of crisis, depression, or recession, which will end in proletarian revolution. And next, I'd like to tell you about North Korean ideology. And I want to build my ideology, so I wanna like examine different other ideologies and try to take the best of them from my ideology. And I'll give you an example for North Korea. And so why this ideology, North Korean ideology, emerged? Kim Jong-il, like 8 years ago, he decided that he wants to start a dynasty. So he wrote like postulates how government life and social life needs to look like, so that North Koreans would be like, OMG, I'm gonna vote for him. And the next reason was Kim Jong-il wanted more independency from Mao Marxism and Lenin Marxism. And I'd like to tell you first about the drawbacks of the system, and of course its economics. Kim Jong-il economics approach wasn't much even described in those postulates. He was only saying that let's isolate from the rest of the world and gonna come up with something. And if you build in your ideology, you probably don't want to take economics from North Korean, because I watched recently episode on Deutsche Welle about North Korea, like it was a report, and a journalist, he filmed his trip to this country, and he was filming covertly because it's not allowed to film like most of North Korea for tourists. And what I can tell, North Korea has a really wonderful nature and nice people. However, they afraid and they curious what's going on in the rest of the world because they don't have access to internet. And people, they probably don't even have like much food. They probably wear the same clothes, and they don't have any human rights. So this is like the drawback of the system. And I also found some benefits. And the first, that Kim Jong-il was supporting the idea of Karl Marx that religion distorts people from reality, that it's a delusion. And so I'd like to take it for my ideology probably. And the next postulate was that Kim Jong-il was saying that it's not some superficial creature in the center of the universe. However, it's everyone individually who are masters of their destinies and their lives. And he was saying that people need to make like priorities in just a simple thinking process. For example, priorities of first degree, it's the things that make you happy, and second degree, things that indifferent to you, however necessary, and third degree, things that make you upset. And he was saying that people need to think about like ideas of first degree. And he was saying that it's not that life determines people, however people determine life, because they're the smartest creatures on this planet, and only human can make this world a better place. And he was also saying that he was saying that art is a process of solving problems, and it's pretty much the same with politics. And that's why he was trying to express people in politics using art. And thank you so much for listening. It was Graph 9.